I think that many of us, at least myself, wonder sometimes how we can actually go about becoming involved in our communities and contributing to things, even if we, oftentimes I think most people feel that they want to help, but it's kind of hard to get out there and do things, and I think that this assignment definitely helped me to get to it, and I assume that same for a lot of you all. My name is Brenden, and I'm a Speech 1300 student, and all the work here is my own, except for all the rest done by the nonprofit that I was with. They did a lot. I'd have to say that the biggest takeaways I had from this is that you can have a good time, contribute to a community, and practice communicating with and working together with strangers when you seek out and participate in charitable organizations in your area. Well, my experience with St. Vincent de Paul is kind of interesting. I think about 10 years ago, I used to spend the summers in Dallas, and my aunt would send me over there, and I would help them sort clothes and everything, and this is all for their thrift store operation, and that's pretty much the only experience I had of it, and that isn't what I ended up volunteering with when I went there, but it's actually a at least national, and I think to an extent international organization, Catholic American, but they help everyone in their communities, and one of their mottos is neighbors helping neighbors, and they'll have tutoring programs, and this is just in the area where I'm at. They actually have a mini loan program, which is really interesting. So North Dallas and the North Texas area actually has one of the largest amounts of unbanked and underbanked people. So these people who don't actually have access to credit or anything, and a lot of the revenue that comes from the thrift store that I worked for actually goes towards programs like this. So even though the goods at the thrift store are already priced incredibly low, they know a lot of people in the area still can't afford things that they need for their kids and families. So they'll give vouchers for a lot of the goods at the thrift stores. They also have food banks and other programs. And some of the money goes to the mini loan program, and then you get people who are unbanked and underbanked, which is an increasing problem for people who don't have documentation also, which you have a lot more of that in Texas. And these payday lending programs basically keep people in cycles of revolving debt. So this way they kind of help lift people out of poverty, and it's really pretty inspiring and great. But I only learned about the tutoring program actually when I was finishing preparing for the speech, so I wish I'd done that instead. That would have been more fun probably. But yeah, that's just a little bit about that I wanted to tell you guys about. And my experience actually working for them was pretty fun. I was able to pretty much just walk right in, sign a couple of papers just so they got my name and contact information and get right to it. They took me in and they sent me with a guy named Uriel, and we basically just started quickly unloading stuff as people brought it in, because just throughout the whole day you have people driving up to the back trying to unload things in the warehouse. You just take it all. You start sorting it and organizing it, throw away the things you can't have. One of the saddest things is you actually have to throw away really awesome stuff like life vests and all sorts of like survival gear and camping gear, because if they're not rated properly, or someone gets hurt with it, they could get sued. So it was sad throwing away all the valuable stuff, but yeah, it's I didn't get to practice as much communication skills as I'd hoped in some ways. A lot of it, they just kind of sent me on my way and told me what to do, but I definitely got to practice some of the communication principles, such as confirming responses and just comprehensive listening, making sure I was paying attention to what they were saying so they didn't have to repeat themselves, asking questions, clarifying things so I knew how best to sort things and how best to get things done there. And definitely an experience with impersonal relationships, but also, as is discussed in our textbook, though, you know, these impersonal relationships can still have very civil communication, and it can still be, you know, a completely comfortable work environment. And as far as communication principles go, I suppose I should get into the examples. Confirming responses, so they tell me how to sort different things. So everything comes in, you have to sort linens, you have to sort clothes, there's going to be shoes, electronics, you have to determine which things are breakable, and you have to take care of them differently. One fun thing that happened is we were trying to load things onto a cart for the fragile stuff, and we got this gigantic box set of like china that was just perfect and like really nice and not the sort of thing anyone just gives away. So your just picks it up and he starts saying, right, halfway to the other end of the warehouse, I just hear the entire box shatter because the cardboard just broke on it, which was awesome. But he had a good word about it, and just laughed and made fun of it. But yeah, so he got it clean and got back to work in no time. Also the way that I was able to introduce myself to them, and then all the managers, whenever they walked by, they always introduced themselves to me and told me a little about themselves, and that was very nice. The communication principles that, as discussed in our course manual, I think the ones that came up the most is that communication is simultaneous. Definitely you realize that it's a lot about just listening and paying attention just so that you can get up to speed quickly, and as long as you're just communicating just enough so that they know that you understand and can get started, that's pretty much what it came down to. And then communication involving both verbal and nonverbal messages, again, was a very big part of it. There wasn't a whole lot of communication through most of the experience, so it's kind of hard to point to as many principles as I would like to. But one thing that hit me, at least very personally, was that communication behaviors are learnable. Because I remember going there when I was like 12 and I could barely talk to anybody and I was super nervous the whole time and definitely wasn't able to have fun or relax and make friends. And definitely you see, stuff like this class and also just kind of all of our experiences growing up, how much these behaviors can be improved. And as far as the ethical implications in the manual, integrity and the way that you can have these views and you can care about community and you can be interested in these things, but it's actually hard sometimes to get out there and participate. And I definitely felt, at least on a personal level and self-worth, I took a lot from being able to participate and help and contribute to something for the community. And even though it was just a small level, just sorting clothes and stuff, I'm contributing to the bigger process of then being able to help the community, and now I'm more inspired to look at the other programs and see if I can participate in those. And the concern for community also, so it's, you get to express the concern for community and the integrity. You can you feel more comfortable asking other people to pitch in for the community. You can encourage these sorts of things. It's hard to go out there and ever encourage someone to work for something when you haven't given time to charity in like 3 years. So anyway, I thought it was overall a very good experience, and as I said before, you can have a good time, you can get out there and contribute to community. Is just as long as you go out there. And the slogan for St. Vincent de Paul is neighbors helping neighbors, and I don't know, in modern times, what's your neighbor anymore, and just kind of who you connect with and how to contribute gets kind of distant. So I think it was a fun experience, and I'm hoping to get back to it once finals are finally over.